Waikato hamlet of Hautapu, just a touch north of Cambridge, is the home of C&R Developments, owned and operated by brothers Mike, Tony, Tim and Simon Ross. The brothers have built a reputation for excellence in civil earthworks and bulk earth moving, operating more than 200 major plant items. Alongside this are 11 heavy trucks in the fleet that exist to support the company's core task, shifting earth. And today we're here to look over the latest addition to the fleet, a T909 Kenworth and matching TRT 4 rows of 8 float, complete with electronic steering system. Operating a fleet of earth moving plant is that it needs to be moved to and from projects, and when that plant needs to move, it needs to move. It really got to the stage where we'd grown too big to be relying on others to move all our gear. It became too tough getting trucks when we wanted them, so it was crucial that we got our own transporters, says Simon Ross. The transporter fleet is all Kenworth, consisting of a T950, a T908, an older T909 and a 200-tonne rated C501 Brute that's reserved for the heavier stuff with its TRT 6-row ESS platform trailer. The key to making the job easier is the gear, and the latest T909, named the Duke, follows a tried and true recipe with a spec that works for C&R. With its Cummins X15 and 22 Series 18-speed Road Ranger, Meritor front and rear axles, new way rear air suspension and a 5.5 metre wheelbase means it's short, manoeuvrable, extremely stable and built for the task with a GCM of 155 tonne. Arguably, however, the star of the show is what hooks up to the Kenworth. A TRT 4 rows of 8 ESS widening low loader, the first of 3 the Hamilton engineering firm has so far built in this exact spec. The innovation is combining TRT's electronic steering system and double acting suspension with a float. Each axle can steer to 45 degrees and the trailer bed height can be altered from 815mm to a touch over 1.5 metres. It can also widen from 3.90 m to 4.390 m. It's 12 AM on a late February Wednesday night when we gather at the Hautapu yard to accompany the Duke and its affable driver, Murray Muzz Peak, on their maiden shift, a fully rigged Caterpillar D10T dozer that's headed to the Port of Auckland. The trailer itself is fitted with 12 work lights, 28 side marker lights and 8 marine plug sockets for additional beacon lighting. Immediately, the advantage of the trailer's lighting, along with 5 work lamps on the cab's rear wall, is clear. There are a few parts of the combination not clearly visible, and when a large portion of the job is undertaken in the dead of the night, that can only be a good thing. It's great to be able to see where my axles are placed when I'm manoeuvring in tight spots, Muzz comments. Pilots Richard McHugh and Jeff Hindrup lead us out of the yard, with Jamie Ashby following the truck. The loaded combination is running at 4.9 metres high, 5.2 metres wide, and comes in at 99 tonnes. It doesn't take long for the team to encounter the first obstacle on the route, the recently installed Hautapu roundabout on Victoria Road, State Highway 1B. It is that tight that the older non-steerable floats would have had to have negotiated the roundabout down the oncoming traffic side of the road when widened. But now Muzz approaches, turns in, follows much the same line as he would in any other conventional unit and powers on out with incredible ease. No tyre scrub, no drag in the trailer over the inner curbing, no strain on the gear or operator. Tidy. With the Waikato Expressway largely devoid of traffic at this hour, it's an easy trip north. Well, that is until we encounter 2 stricken house-moving units up ahead. Radio chatter lights up between the pilots and the drivers of both crews, but there's nothing for Muzz to do except just continue his approach. Muzz brings the Duke down to a crawl and lines up as close to the central barriers as he can, the Caterpillar's blade just clearing it. With eyes trained on his mirrors, he guides the unit through, with Jamie providing guidance from behind the combo. It's all about communication, patience and experience. We come across all kinds of stuff. I've seen it all, Muzz comments once we're safely past. The Duke has done just 1,200 kilometres, and with this being its first outing at the coalface, it still naturally needs to loosen up. It's actually feeling alright. I stayed in the high range up the Huntly bypass, which is a good start, says Muzz. Heading up the Bombays, the weight of the D10T is immediately apparent as Muzz approaches and begins to drop gears. The latter part of the climb is completed near 16 km per hour at 1400 RPM in third. The X15 just in its torque peak at 2,779 Nm, 2,050 pound-foot at 1200 RPM. I was a good half a gear to a full gear down at various points there compared to the old 908, he comments. I'd have been doing about 22 km per hour in that, but overall it wasn't bad. It'll loosen up. By 2:30am we reach Ramarama and it's time to turn off the motorway and onto the Auckland heavy haul route. And it's here where those lights beside the trailer axles now allow a good view of it doing its job, tracking the truck beautifully through the bends and turns en route to the port. And with Auckland mostly asleep, it takes us another 80 minutes to reach our Port of Auckland destination. It's a further 45 minutes later, Muzz and the Duke emerge out of the port, trailer empty and narrowed up, ready for the return run home, directly down the motorway before the morning madness that is Auckland rush hour begins. Day or night, watching an oversized heavy haul unit at work is always a treat. And of course, having good gear always makes the job just that much easier. The Duke and the TRT 4 rows of 8 ESS widening low loader should serve Muzz well and manage the task admirably. And really, none of that is surprising when you consider the amount of IP that went into speccing the combination. Kenworth supplying the right truck fitted with the right componentry, TRT calling upon decades of engineering experience and ingenuity, and the team at C&R who know exactly what they want and need from their gear and their suppliers to make their job just that much easier, safer and more productive in a sector that is definitely fraught with many challenges. To read the full story on the new Kenworth TRT combination for C&R Developments of Hautapu and the mighty Waikato, then catch a copy of the April 2025 issue of New Zealand Trucking Magazine, or subscribe to our digital platform and view the entire feature there. See the links below. Also remember to hit those thumbs up and subscribe buttons right now to be notified of fresh new content as we upload it for you. From all of us here at New Zealand Trucking Media, thanks for watching, have a fantastic month out there and travel safe.